Gentlemen, it may be a very long time, 60 years, 80 years, 100 years, before I'm majority leader. But I tell you, we have the money. And I have a list of where the money is, where it's hidden, what pots it's in. We have the money to go home today and do both the 55 million and some other things that we're not doing. There are 3, 4, 5 funds that the money is sequestered in. We have the money. Do not be frightened by what you see on the $700 billion minus. We have more than $700 million in available funds to pay for what we need to pay for. So that's just a suggestion, and I'll be glad to help out with whoever is making the final decisions as to where the money can come from. But I know where it can come from, and I guarantee you there's more than $700 million available now.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Once again, it's interesting that we spend most of our time talking about everything except the building. And I don't think anybody disagrees about doctors. I've been in this assembly long enough to know that we had to almost force the medical school to change their mission because they were more concerned about chasing research dollars and training researchists than they were training doctors for North Dakota. And that happened in the last 2 and 3 bienniums, and thank heavens they've refocused. So now because they've refocused, we're saying we don't want to get those phone calls anymore for someone who was topped in their class and was turned down at the medical school and had to go to Iowa and never came back. You know, if we want to have a debate, let's talk about how the makeup is and the older than average, and let's make sure that we keep building that number of North Dakota kids who have every great prospect of staying here. But nothing doesn't change. Representative Glassheim obviously has a different accountant than I do about looking at the state books. I sent somebody to the basement and there are no more cream cans to dig up, like they were insinuating one time in the paper. So we need to know that there is, you can move money around. You can move it around and make any number work. You can change the budget stabilization fund, make it a little smaller. You can say that you're going to use the SIF fund, but we took it all for next time, this times and next times. You can say we don't need an ending fund balance. We can find ways to do that. You can't go into the Common Schools Trust Fund. You can't go into a lot of other places that are constitutionally protected. So there might be money there, but the people said put the money there and leave it there. So we still need to balance the books. So to say we're flush with cash when you jump this budget to $13 billion is just plain not true. Record spending in almost every budget. So we need to just say this isn't the cutting board. This isn't where we're knocking it off. We're saying move it to 2003. And if it stands on its own as being the preferred project and we give them whatever that final amount of money amounts to, then it should be funded. But it should be funded in a list of other buildings as well, saying that we need to have this much commitment to buildings. And we hear talk of a master plan. We got to have a master plan. Well, if you were going to do a master plan of all the campuses, you wouldn't build any buildings until you had the master completed plan for every university. But now we're moving things ahead and say everybody else is in the master plan except for a couple. As a contractor, I struggle with that a little bit. But let's get it to that bill, and let's do the right thing. And if that one comes as the cream of the crop for the best of the North Dakotans, then it should stand on its own and should do that. But it shouldn't be split out, and it should be voted down.